Good evening, yogis. My name is Daniel. This is Daniel Lee Yoga. Thank you for joining me for practice today. This week we've been focusing on balance poses. And today, with our level 1 class, we'll be building off of what we worked on Monday in our fundamentals. That was a little more of a challenging class this week, but we're still going to ramp it up a little bit. It will be a 60-minute Vinyasa focus class, and with it being level 1, we'll definitely do some more fundamental things. We'll break down some of the poses. We'll also challenge ourselves by advancing into some more intermediate to advanced poses. But I'll still provide tons of modifications along the way, so whether you're a beginner or a more advanced yogi today, you'll be right at home. I really like doing these balance poses just because it really helps to give us a chance to look inside, compare both sides of our bodies, see what may be out of equilibrium, and try to bring things back into place to really balance and reset ourselves. And so I want to thank all of you for joining. As far as props for today, I have a couple blocks with me. They're not too necessary if you have them. You can just place them at the top of your mat. Nothing really planned with them today, but if you do normally practice with props, just go ahead and have this handy. I've got Coney here with me. Oliver will probably make an appearance as well. I hope you're having a wonderful week so far, and I think we're all set to get started. So meet me on your back. And once you come onto your back, we're going to get started in Supta Baddha Konasana, bound angle pose. So once you're on your back, bring the bottoms of your feet to touch and let your knees fall out to the side. Your heels can be as close to your pelvis or as far away as comfortable for you. We'll be here for a couple minutes as we start class. In your bound angle, some people like to place blocks if your knees don't touch the ground underneath both knees. So you can do that if you have those. You can also use a pillow or boxes or anything else just to bring the ground up to your knees. Others may be able to rest their knees on the ground. So just get nice and comfy here. Have your arms down to your sides, palms face up. Just begin to deepen your breathing. Nice, long, deep inhales and exhales. Inhale deeply and exhale completely. As you begin to deepen your breathing, start to transition into your practice. This is a time for you, a time to maybe reset, perhaps energize, meditate a little bit, or just any reason that you come to your mat today. Just check in with yourself and leave whatever you had going on earlier in the day off the mat and forget about whatever you have planned for the rest of the evening and the rest of the week. Just be here for this hour here for your practice. I'll invite you to start breathing in through your nose. With your mouth closed, exhale out through your nose. By breathing in and out through the nose, it gives you the opportunity to humidify the air as it comes in, filter it through your nostrils, and ultimately provide just a smaller volume of air that comes in and flows out. Allows you to really lengthen your breaths here. Be here for a couple more nice long deep breaths. Take one more last deep breath here. And now if you have blocks or pillows or anything resting underneath your knees, just go ahead and set those out to the side. And then just gently use your hands to lift your knees back up to hip width distance. Bring the bottoms of your feet to the ground. Just take your time lifting those knees up. Once you've lifted those knees, keep the knees bent and hug those knees back into your chest. Wrap your hands either around your shins or your thighs and just give a gentle squeeze here. While still holding and squeezing your legs in, just start to rock from side to side. Let's massage that low back for a moment here. Try to keep that entire low back on the ground as you rock left and right. And then come back to center. Wrap both hands around your right knee. Extend and straighten that left leg straight out. Release that left heel to the mat. Flex those left toes. Draw that right knee in towards that right shoulder as you extend that left heel out away from your body. Flexing both feet, you want those toes and the knee to point up towards the ceiling. Stay for one more breath. And on your exhale, gently release and switch. And then we'll draw that left knee in, both hands wrapped around that left knee as you extend and straighten that right leg out. Release the right heel to the mat. Flex both toes, ensuring that your toes and your knees both point up towards the ceiling. Drawing that left knee in towards the left shoulder as you extend out through that right heel. Staying for one more breath. And exhale. Let's draw both knees into your chest. Give a gentle squeeze. And then keep your knees bent. Release both feet to the mat. Now add some knee circles. So draw the left knee in towards your chest. Left palm on the left knee, right palm on the right hip. Flex that left foot and begin to start making circles with that left knee. The idea here is we're starting to open up that hip socket. That right hand is there to keep that right hip rooted. Begin to slow and reverse directions in your rotations. And use that right hand to keep that right hip rooted. If it starts to come up, maybe reduce the diameter of your circles here. Let's do one more. And begin to slow. Hug that left knee in, and then release that left foot to the ground. Let's switch to the other side. Now we'll hug that right knee into our chest. Right palm to the right knee, left palm to that left thigh. And begin in your first direction. Make those knee circles. And really trying to isolate the movement at that hip socket. That nice big femur bone connects into your pelvis. A couple more in this direction. And begin to slow, and let's reverse the direction. You can always imagine yourself drawing a circle on the ceiling here. Just a gentle press with that left hand to remind yourself to keep that left hip rooted. All right, let's slow that and draw both knees back into your chest. And then keep the knees bent again. Release both feet to the mat. Now bend that left knee into your chest. Open up that left hip. So you're opening up that left hip. Left knee comes to the side. And release the outer edge of that left ankle on top of that right thigh. Coming into a figure 4 pattern here. You can use your left arm to gently press that left thigh away from your body. Option 1 is to stay here. If you want to move on a bit, option 2, pick that right foot off the mat, flex those right toes. And the last option here is you can shoot that left hand between both legs. Wrap your hands either around your thigh or around your shin. Whatever works for you. Try to keep your both hips rooted and both shoulders on the mat. You're gently pressing that left thigh away from your body. Again, just opening up that left hip socket. One more breath here. And gently release that right foot down. Keep that left foot where it is. We're adding a twist. So extend both arms out, either to a T shape or a field goal post, shoulder width height, palms face up. Adding a twist here, so we'll drop our right knee down with our left foot. Keep that attachment with that ankle to knee. So we'll drop that off to the right side and maintain both contacts with the shoulders on the mat. If that left hip starts to come up, just reduce your twist. We're only here for a breath. And we'll inhale as we lift that right knee back up. Exhale, twist. Release that right knee, left foot back down. Staying just for a breath. And inhale back up. One more time. Exhale as you release that right knee down, left foot down. And bring that knee back up. Let's release that left foot down to meet the right. Recenter those hips. And we'll switch to the other side. So hug that right knee in. Externally rotate, open up that right hip. Right ankle to that left thigh. Option 1 to stay here, you can use your arm to gently press that right thigh away. Or option 2, lift that left foot off the ground, draw that left thigh back, and you can shoot your arms through, wrap your hand around your thigh or your shin for that last option if you'd like. Wherever you are, you're gently drawing that right thigh away from your body. And just staying for one more breath. And exhale, release that left foot to the ground and send those arms out to the side again, either to a T or a field goal post, palms face up. And now let's drop that left knee down, right foot down to the side. Try to keep that right shoulder rooted here just for a breath. And inhale back up to center. Exhale, twist to your left. And we're here for a breath. And inhale back up to center. One last time. Exhale to your left. And inhale, come back up. Let's release that right knee. Hug those knees back into your chest one last time. And we're coming into tabletop from here, so you have a couple options. If you like to wrap around the backs of your thighs and roll up and down your spine a couple times, you can do that. If you like to cross your legs when you come up, release your hands forward, come into tabletop that way, you can do that. You can also let your knees fall off to the side and just use your arms to press yourself up into tabletop that way. Just whatever worked for you. Meet me in tabletop here. You'll have your wrists directly below your shoulders, knees beneath the hips, tops of the feet to the mat. Take a quick peek to look back. Your feet should mostly be hidden behind those thighs. Nice long neck, gazes towards the top of your mat, gently hugging that navel in and up to create a nice neutral spine. Gentle press of the fingertips, base of the fingertips and the palms down as you rise up. Lift those armpits up. Nice straight arms here. And we'll come into our cow cats. Begin by inhaling as you drop the navel, tailbone lifts, heart comes forward, a look up. Exhale, round the back, shoulders separate, head hangs heavy in your cat pose. Reversing that, inhale, arching the back, tailbone lift, heart forward, cow pose. Exhale as you round the back, shoulders separate into your cat. Keep going on your breath. Let's do 2 more times each way. Opportunity to connect your breath to your movement here. And once you finish that last one, meet me in a nice neutral spine. Now you have the option, if you have your blocks, you can place them underneath your hands and release your forearms down on the blocks. Sometimes if you have wrist issues or if they get uncomfortable pretty quickly, you can do that. You can also come down to your forearms as well. So a couple different options for your tabletop. We'll add a balancing pose, really our first balancing pose here. So wherever you are, we're going to curl those right toes under, extend that right heel back. Option 1 to stay here with the toes on the mat. Option 2, raise that right thigh up to hip height. The entire leg is up at hip height. You're still flexing those toes. Now wherever you are, we're going to extend that left arm forward and left palm faces in. Keep hugging that navel in and up. Keep your shoulders square, gaze towards the top of your mat. Pressing back through that right heel and extending out through those left fingertips. We're here for 2 more breaths. Try not to sink in, try and rise up, keeping your shoulders and your pelvis neutral. 1 more breath. And exhale, release. Right knee down, left hand down. We'll switch to the other side. So curl the left toes under, extend and straighten that left leg back. Option 1 to stay here. Option 2, lift that left thigh up to hip height. And we'll inhale as we extend our right arm forward. Right palm faces in. Gaze is towards that top of the mat. Hug that navel in and up. Press back through that left heel as you extend out through those right fingertips. Create nice length here. Keep your shoulders level and your hips level. Keep hugging that navel in and up. Here for 2 more breaths. This is always a lot harder than it looks. Keep going. 1 more breath here. And exhale. Gently release that right hand down. Release that left knee down. Let's bring the big toes to touch. Separate the knees out to the sides of your mat. And send your hips back towards your heels. Come into our child's pose. With your hips back, let your forehead rest to the mat or to a block. You can also, if you have a pillow, you can place that in between your hips and your thighs. And if neither of those options work for you, you can always come on your back and hug your knees into your chest as an alternative for your child's pose. Just make sure it's a restorative pose. You want to stay away from any pain. It should allow you to really connect to your breath, give you time to slow your breathing. It's a good opportunity to know this is a pose you can always come back into at any time during practice. Maybe you need to just catch your breath or just recenter, refocus. Just use child's pose as a way to do that. Know it's always an option. So let's stay for 1 more breath in your child's pose. And now lift your forehead up, lift your hips up off your heels. With your arms forward, come back in your tabletop. In your tabletop, curl those toes under. With the toes curled under, we're just going to lift the knees up off the mat just an inch or 2. So we're hugging those knees up, again, just an inch or 2. Really hug that navel in and up. You can begin to round your back slightly into your cat pose. And now from here, draw your wrists towards your toes and try and draw your toes towards your wrists. Isometrically contracting, really engaging those core muscles. We're here just for 1 more breath. And exhale, gently release those knees down. Keep those toes curled under. Let's lift those hips up and back. Come into downward facing dog. Our first downward facing dog, so let's pedal out those feet. Maybe you lift one heel, lift the other. If downward facing dog is ever too much for you, you can always come down to tabletop. You can still pedal out your legs and your feet here as well. Just take another moment or 2, loosening up here. And now come back to stillness with your feet hips width distance, arms shoulder width distance. Inhale as you gaze forward. Bend the knees, exhale, walk or step to the top of the mat. With your feet hips width distance, heels behind those center toes, stay in your standing forward fold. Your knees can be bent as much as you like, maybe your chest rests on your thigh. Come into your ragdoll, grab opposite elbows, let your head and your arms hang heavy here. You can either stay here in stillness or maybe you rock from side to side, just gentle here. Really letting that spine elongate, especially in the cervical spine. So let that head hang heavy. Maybe you gaze back between your legs.
Switch the clasp of your elbows just so we even out both sides here. So switch which arm is on top. Again, you can stay in your stillness or gently rock from side to side in your ragdoll pose. Take one more breath here. Come back to stillness in the middle. Release your arms down. We'll come up to standing, but take your time. So press your feet into the mat. Spin your inner thighs in and back. And inhale as you start to raise up one vertebrae at a time. Head and arms are the last thing to arrive.
And once you come up, just roll the shoulders up and back a couple times. Just loosen it out. All right, so make sure you're at the top of the mat. Feet or hips width distance, heels behind the center toes. Arms down to the sides, palms face forward. Try and draw your tailbone towards your heels as you lift your frontal hip points up to those front bottom ribs. Soften the shoulders away from your ears. Take a moment to check in. Set your intention for practice if you haven't already. And you showed up here for a reason. Maybe it's for yourself, maybe it's for someone else. Just take a moment here. All right. Let's continue our practice, warming up the body. Press those feet into the mat. Inhale the arms out and up overhead, palms face each other. Exhale, forward fold, hinge forward, standing forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, plant your hands at the tops of your shins, nice long spine. And exhale, forward fold. Press your feet into the mat. Inhale the arms out and up overhead, palms face each other. And exhale, hands down through the center and down to the sides. Let's repeat that. Inhale, arms out and up overhead, palms face each other. And exhale, hinge forward, forward fold, knees can bend. Inhale, halfway lift, nice long spine, hands to the shins. And exhale, forward fold. Press your feet into the mat. Inhale, arms out and up overhead, palms face each other. And exhale, hands down through the center and down to the sides. All right, now we'll build off that. Inhale, arms up overhead, palms face each other. And exhale, forward fold, hinge forward. Inhale, halfway lift, nice long spine. And exhale, forward fold. Bend your knees, plant your palms, step your right foot back, step your left foot back, coming into your plank pose. We'll be in plank pose for 3 to 4 breaths. You always have the option to drop your knees down. Try and externally rotate your shoulders, maybe start to turn those elbow creases forward. If your knees are down or up, either way your shoulders should be over your wrists. And spin those inner thighs in and up. Keep drawing that tailbone down towards your heels and pressing those heels back away from your body. Just one more breath here. And now drop your knees to the mat. Shift your torso forward, bend the elbows, and lower all the way to the mat. Uncurl the back toes so the tops of the toes are to the mat. Press your hips into the mat. Press the tops of your toes into the mat. And on your next inhale, lift your head up and your chest up into your baby cobra. Keep those bottom ribs on the ground. Draw the shoulder blades down your back. Keep drawing the tailbone down towards your heels, creating more space in that low back. Just stay for one more breath. And exhale, gently release. Curl the toes under. Lift the hips up to tabletop. And then we'll lift the knees up off the ground, pressing back into our downward facing dog. Now once you're in your down dog, just check in, make sure your hands are shoulder width distance, feet are hips width distance with those heels behind those center toes. Now once you're in your down dog, I want you to walk both feet forward about 1 foot's distance. So you're in like a shortened down dog. From your shortened down dog, bend your knees. Nice healthy bend, maybe your chest is close to those thighs. And we'll add a twist here. So beginning with those left fingertips, tent up on those left fingertips. So now the weight is in that right arm. Now extend that left arm underneath that right arm and grab the outside edge of your right leg, either the right calf or the right ankle or the right thigh, whatever you can reach. You can stay here, or if you want to add a twist, twist from the navel up, look up under your armpit.
maybe up towards the sky. You can begin to start straightening your legs or just stay right here. I feel a nice stretch in the back of that right leg. One more breath here. And exhale, gently release your left arm to meet the right. We'll switch to the other side. So tent up on the right fingertips. Make sure those knees are bent to start. And send that right arm underneath into the outside edge of that left thigh, that left calf, or that left ankle. Keep pressing your hips back. Maybe you add a twist from the navel up. Look underneath that left armpit, up towards the sky. You can stay here or maybe start to straighten both legs just a tiny bit. Nice stretch and balance here. One more breath. And exhale, gently release. Back into your down dog. Let's inhale as we gaze forward. Knees are bent. Exhale, walk or step to the top of the mat. Feet are hips width distance. Let's inhale, halfway lift, nice long spine. And exhale, forward fold. Press your feet into the mat. Inhale as you lift your arms out and up, overhead, palms face each other. And exhale, hands down through the center and down to your side. Just take a moment to catch your breath here. All right, here we go. Inhale, arms out and up, overhead, palms face each other. And exhale, hinge forward, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, nice long spine. Exhale, forward fold, plant both palms down, keep your left leg forward, extend your right leg back. Now drop your right knee to the ground, keep those right toes curled under. Now this is where, again, if you have a block, you can use it. We're going to root our right hand down, either on the block, fingertips, or our palm comes to the mat. Make sure that hand is directly underneath that shoulder. Once you're nice and rooted, you'll lift that left arm to the sky, turning from the navel up. Look up at those left fingertips. Left palm rotates the entire arm so it faces towards the top edge of your mat. Keep firming both thighs in towards each other. Maybe you get a little bit lighter off your hand, off your palm, off your block, off your fingertips. Staying for one more breath. And exhale, gently release that left arm down. Both arms to either side of that left foot. With that right toe curled under, lift that right knee up. Send that left foot to meet the back foot. We're in our plank pose again. Everyone drop your knees, shift your torso forward, bend the elbows back, lower all the way to the mat. Uncurl the back toes, tops of the feet and hips press into the mat. On your inhale, lift your head up and your chest up into your baby cobra. Broaden those collarbones. Draw that tailbone towards the heels. Send the heart forward and up. Staying for one more breath. And exhale, gently release. Curl those toes under. Press your hips up through tabletop. And then lift your hips up and back into your downward facing dog. We're here in down dog just for a couple breaths, so check in. Make sure you're pressing down to the base of each finger and each palm, especially that index and thumb finger. Those always want to pop up. Pressing the heels back and down. Maybe you're starting to straighten those legs a little more now as you're pressing your chest back towards your thighs. One more breath here. Now inhale as you gaze forward. Slight bend in the knees. We're going to shift forward and just lower our knees to the ground. So we'll come back into our tabletop pose here. Tabletop pose with the toes uncurled so the tops of the feet to the mat. Back where we started at the beginning of practice. And we'll add our side plank. So begin by kickstanding that left foot out to the edge of your mat. So your left knee stays where it is, but your left foot moves out to the edge of your mat. We'll curl the right toes under, extend and straighten that right leg back just like before, but this time we'll drop that right heel down. And we'll lift that right arm up to the hip and try to stack that right shoulder on top of your left. So here we are in our modified side plank pose. So you have the option to stay here. Other option, a little more challenging. Send that left foot underneath the right foot so that you're on the outer edge of that left foot. Wherever you are, try to lift those hips up a little bit more.
And last option is to raise that right arm up to the sky with the right palm facing forward. Keep lifting those hips up, staying for one more breath here in our side balance pose. And exhale, gently release the hand, release that knee down, and come back into our tabletop. All right, we'll switch to the other side. So we'll kickstand this right foot out to the right edge of your mat. Curl the left toes under, extend that left leg back, release that left heel to the ground. Open up those shoulders, stack the shoulders as you bring that left arm to that left hip. Option to stay here. This is perfectly fine to stay here. Nice balance. If you want to ramp it up a little bit, keep pressing down through that right hand and extend and straighten that right leg under that left foot. So now you're on the outside edge of that right foot. Last option, wherever you are, you can lift that left arm to the sky, left palm faces forward, lifting those hips up, staying for one more breath, still drawing the tailbone towards the heels. And exhale, gently release that right knee down, release the left arm down, come back into your tabletop. Let's curl those toes under, lift the hips up and back into your down dog. We're here just for a breath. So let's inhale as we gaze forward. Bend the knees, exhale, walk or step to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to the shins, nice flat back. And exhale, forward fold. Press your feet into the mat, inhale, arms out and up overhead. And exhale, hands down to the center and down to the sides. All right, just make fists with your hands. Let's start to just roll out those wrists a little bit. Let's give them a little bit of love here. Take a quick wrist intermission. And let's switch directions in those rotations. All right, we're gonna add another standing balancing pose here. So you can start at the top of your mat, just have your feet hips width distance, feet nice and parallel with the heels behind those center toes. Drawing that tailbone down towards your heels, lifting that frontal hip point up. That reduces the posterior tilt of your pelvis. So really by drawing that down, it really helps to elongate that spine. So hands at your hips to start. Shift weight into that right foot. Bend that left knee and bring it up to hip height, flexing that left foot. Now option one is to stay here. If this is enough for you, more than okay, just stay here. Option two, lift that right arm up to the sky, and then release that right arm, right palm to the outside edge of that left knee. You can gently press that right hand into your left knee as you press the left knee back into the palm. And the last option is to release that left arm behind you, turn and twist from the navel up. Try to keep that pelvis facing forward. Maybe you turn to look over those left fingertips. We're here for 2 breaths, so whatever balance pose you are, keep firming that right thigh in, pressing down through the right heel. Just one more breath. And exhale, gently release back to center, release your hands down and your feet down, and we can shake it out a little bit. All right, let's move to the other side. So again, starting with those feet nice and hips width distance, arms at the hips, draw that tailbone down, try and lift those hip points up. Now we'll shift weight into that left leg, bend that right knee up to hip height, flex that right foot. Again, you can stay here if this is enough for you. Otherwise, second option, left arm raises and release that left arm across. Palm is to the outside edge of that right knee. Press that right hand into the right, that left hand into that right knee as you press the right knee into the left hand. And your last option here is to extend that right arm back, right palm faces away. Maybe you turn and twist from the navel up to look over those right fingertips. And if you fall out, don't worry about it, just come back into it. Your way, we're here for 2 more breaths. Keep firming that outer left hip in. One last breath here. And exhale, gently release, come back to center. Release your hands down, shake those legs out a little bit more. All right, let's come back to the top of your mat. This time bring your big toes to touch. So your heels are maybe an inch or 2 apart, big toes are touching. Arms down to the sides, palms face forward. Chair pose. Bend the knees, send the hips back, arms come forward. Palms face each other. Make sure you can gaze down and look at those tippy toes. If those knees are hiding them, just shift your hips back a little bit more. And shift the weight more into your heels. Maybe you pick those toes up off the mat. Palms are facing each other, nice long extended arms forward, but keep the spine nice and neutral. No arching or rounding here. Release those toes, stay for one more breath. And exhale, let's forward fold, hinge forward. Now inhale, halfway lift, nice long spine. And exhale, forward fold, place your palms down, step your right foot back, step your left foot back into your plank. We'll drop our knees to the mat, shift the torso forward, bend the elbows lower all the way to the ground. Uncurl the back toes, press the toes and the hips into the mat. Inhale as you lift yourself up into your baby cobra. You have the option to stay here if you want to start to straighten your arms either halfway or fully come into your full cobra. Just do what works for you today. Exhale as you gently release back down. Curl those back toes under. Lift yourself up through tabletop and all the way back up through downward facing dog. From our down dog, let's raise that right leg up to hip height. Press back through that right heel. And exhale as you draw that right knee into your chest. Shift the torso forward, shoulders over wrists, and step that right foot up to the top of the mat. Now drop that left knee down, keep those left toes curled under. Make sure that right toe is on the right side, left foot and left knee is on that left side of the mat. And make sure that left knee is farther behind your hips. You don't want it directly underneath. Make sure you have an angle there. Keeping this right knee tracking over that right ankle. Inhale as you lift your arms forward and up overhead. Palms face each other. Going to enter Garudasana arms here. So extend both arms out to the side in a T shape, palms face forward. Wrap your arms around each other with the right arm below the left arm. So right arm down, left arm up. Wrap and hug yourself. Option 1 for your Garudasana eagle arms. Option 2, you can bend your elbows, bring the backs of your hands together. Or option 3, you wrap a little bit more around, bring your palms together. Whatever option you have, draw your shoulders down your back and lift those elbows up. Keep drawing the tailbone down toward your heels and lift the heart up. We're here for just one more breath. And exhale, release the arms out to the sides. Arms up overhead, palms face each other. And exhale, release the arms down. Now with that left toe curled under, lift that left knee up. Send that right foot to meet the back foot. You're in your plank again. Drop your knees down, shift your torso forward, bend the elbows lower all the way to the mat. Uncurl the back toes, press the tops of the feet and the hips into the mat. Inhale into your version of back bend. Baby, half or full cobra. Whatever you're choosing, open up those shoulders. Draw the shoulder blades down the back. Keep drawing the tailbone towards the heels to create some space in that low back. One more breath here. And exhale, gently release. Curl the toes under. Press yourself up through down dog. Come through tabletop first if you need to. We'll switch to the other side this time. So extend that left leg up to hip height. Press that left leg back. And exhale as you bend the left knee, send it into your chest. Shift the torso forward. Step the left foot up to the top of the mat. Drop that right knee down. Keep those right toes curled under. Again, make sure that left foot is on the left side, right foot is on the right side. That's really going to help with your balance. Keeping this left knee tracking over that left ankle. Let's inhale as we lift the arms forward and up, torso up, palms face each other. Adding the Garudasana eagle arms again, extend both arms out to the sides, palms face forward. Wrap around, this time left arm is on the bottom, right arm on top. Hug yourself for option 1. Option 2, bend at the elbows back to the arms. Or option 3, palms face each other. A lot of the times, different sides of our bodies can feel a little bit differently, can have different capabilities, so just do what makes sense here. Whatever option you have, draw those shoulders down, lift the elbows up. Keep drawing that tailbone down, press down through that left heel. Firming both thighs in towards the midline. Stay for one more breath. And exhale, release both arms out, palms face forward. Inhale the arms up overhead, palms face each other. And exhale, release the arms down, plant the palms. With those right toes curled under, lift that right knee up. Send that left foot to meet the back foot. And let's just shift right back into our down dog here. We're here for 2 or 3 breaths. Keep pressing the chest back towards the thighs, letting that head hang heavy. Firming those triceps in. One more breath here in your down dog. Now inhale as you gaze forward. Bend the knees. Exhale, walk or step to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, nice long spine. And exhale, forward fold. Bring your big toes to touch. Heels are slightly separated if they're not already. Let's inhale back, halfway lift, hands to the shins, nice long spine. Exhale, forward fold. Come back into our chair pose, bend the knees, send the hips back, arms come forward, palms face each other. And exhale, straighten the legs, hands down to the center and down to the sides. Just take a moment again to catch your breath here. Stay at the top of your mat with your big toes touching and your heels slightly separated. Arms down to the sides. Take an inhale here. And exhale. Alright, let's come back into our chair pose. Bend the knees, send the hips back, arms come forward, palms face each other. We're here just for a breath. And let's exhale as we send our hips forward, hinge forward into your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, nice long spine. And exhale, forward fold, plant your palms. Step your right foot back, step your left foot back into your plank. Drop your knees down, shift the torso forward, bend the elbows, lower all the way down. Uncurl the back toes on your inhale, lift up into your version of back bend. Baby half or full cobra. Really broaden those collarbones. Staying for one more breath. Exhale as you gently release. Curl those back toes under. Lift up through tabletop if you need to. We're coming into downward facing dog. Just like before, we're going to lift our right leg up and back to hip height. Bend that right knee into your chest, shift the torso forward, right foot to the top of the mat. Again, make sure you have right foot on the right side, left foot on the left side. This time, keep your left knee up, so we're in our high lunge here. Press both feet into the mat, and inhale, lift the arms forward and up, palms face each other. So torso is up, settle in here for a moment, make sure this right knee is tracking over that right ankle, behind the center toes. You're drawing that tailbone down toward your heels. You can still have a slight bend in that back leg. Now let's bring the hands down to the center of your chest. You can watch me for a moment if you'd like, but we're going to shift forward, press up off our back heel, and lift that leg up to our balancing pose where we were before. So, get yourself ready. Press down through that right heel, and on your next inhale, shift forward, press up off that left foot, and lift that left knee up to hip height. Flex that left toe. Now stay here for a moment. Keep firming this outer right thigh in. Take an inhale. And on your exhale, you're going to hinge forward. Begin to send that left leg behind you, straightening that left leg, letting your torso come down to parallel with the mat. Keep firming this outer right thigh in. Right knee can be slightly bent if needed, but you're spinning this right thigh in and up, pressing back through that left heel. Drop that left hip down slightly, most likely it's rising up a little much, keeping the pelvis neutral in our warrior 3 here. One more breath as you press back through that left heel, extend through the crown of your head. And exhale, bend that right knee, send that left foot back, release your hands down into your high lunge. Alright, send that right foot back to meet your left foot in our plank pose. Drop the knees down, shift the torso forward, bend the elbows lower all the way to the mat. Uncurl the back toes, press the tops of the feet down. Inhale, lift up into your back bend. Broaden those collarbones. Draw that tailbone down toward your heels. Really creating space in that low back. One last breath here. And exhale, gently release. Curl the toes under. Press yourself up through down dog. Come through tabletop if you need to first. All right, we're going right to the other side here. So let's lift that left leg up to hip height. Bend that left knee, send it into your chest. Shift the torso forward, left foot to the top of the mat. Keep that right knee up off the mat. Press both feet into the mat. Really firm up here and lift the arms forward and up overhead, palms face each other. Settle in for a moment, keeping that left knee tracking over that left heel. That right knee can be bent a little bit if you need to. Now draw the hands to the center of your chest. And on your next inhale, you're going to shift forward, press up off that back foot, and release and draw that right knee up to hip height, flexing that right foot. Keep firming this outer left hip in. That glute med is what's going to keep you stable here. Take an inhale. And on your exhale, you're going to shift the torso forward. Extend that right leg back. Begin to straighten that right leg. Spin that right thigh in and up. Release the torso down halfway. Press back through that right heel. Keep firming this outer left hip in. You can have a slight bend in that left knee. One more breath as you press back through the right heel. Extend through the crown of your head, nice and long. And exhale, bend that left knee. Release the hands down, right foot to the back. Send the left foot to meet the back foot. You're in your plank pose. Oh, we're going to stay here for a couple breaths. Last little challenge here. So if you'd like to, you can come into that side plank again from your plank pose. If you want to come right into it from your plank pose, bring both feet, big toes to touch, and then let your shift so that the outer edge of the left foot comes down, left heel comes down, shifting over, stacking your shoulders, and releasing that right arm up to the sky. If you want to do the alternative version, drop to your knees, send that left foot out to the side, extend that right leg back, come up into your side plank this way. Wherever you are, stay for one more breath. And exhale, gently release back into either your plank pose or with your knees down. Bring your big toes to touch. If you're up, drop to the outer edge of that right foot. Stack the shoulders, lift that left arm up to the sky. That's one option. Other option, right foot out to the side, left foot back down. Release that left foot down with the left toes facing away and release the left arm up. Left palm faces forward. One more breath in your side plank. And exhale, gently release back down. Wherever you are, come into your tabletop. And with your big toes touching, release your knees out to the side. Send your hips back toward your heels. Come into your child's pose. Whew. I bet you're happy we have our child's pose here now. I know I am. Hips back toward your heels, forehead either to the mat or to the block. Your arms can be out in front of you, or you can bring your hands back beside your feet. Just take nice deep breaths here. I apologize for anyone that was here to see the cats today. They immediately went to their sleeping spots as soon as class started, so I don't think they're going to wake up to make an appearance today. Just take one more nice deep breath in your child's pose. And if your arms are down by your feet, release your arms out in front of you. You're going to lift your head up and your hips up. Come into your tabletop just for a moment. Send your knees and your legs off to the side. Come to a seat with your legs out in front of you. Actually, let's do this. So start with your legs out in front of you, and then we're going to separate our legs out wide. Upavishta Konasana, one of my least favorite poses, but you got to practice things you don't like sometimes. So your legs are out wide. If you ever have issues just sitting up straight like this, like I'm already starting to fall back, a lot of times what will help me is to either sit up on a block, or I can roll up my mat a little bit to give me a little bit of elevation there. So just go as wide as you're comfortable. But the real idea here is to, with your feet flexed, have your toes in your knees and your knees both face up towards the ceiling. That's really going to start to engage these internal thigh muscles here. So have a nice long spine. You can stay here if this is plenty for you. Otherwise, you can inhale the arms up overhead, palms face each other. And exhale, begin to hinge forward slightly. Again, don't let those knees fall in or out. Keep the feet nice and flexed. You can release your arms down. Just try and keep a nice long spine. So avoid rounding too much here. Really try to just send your heart forward. If you're a little more capable and you can bring your chest to the ground, just extend your arms out. Wherever you are, just keeping your feet flexed. So those knees and the feet point up towards the ceiling. Just one more breath here. And exhale. Walk those hands back in. If you're on your block, just come up off your block or whatever you're sitting up with. And then use your hands to bring your feet back in to hips width distance. Bend your knees. And we're gently going to roll down onto our backs. So you have a couple options if you like to hold on to your thighs or your shins. You can just gently roll back. Just take your time. Once we're on our back, bring your heels underneath your knees, hips width distance, arms down to the sides. We'll come into our bridge pose. So press your feet into the mat. Inhale as you lift your hips up, pelvis up, chest up into your bridge pose. Keep spinning those inner thighs in and down to keep those knees, hips width distance. A lot of times they want to fall out to the side. Send your chin away from your chest and your chest toward your chin. You can stay here if you're someone that likes to roll your shoulders underneath, so that you're balancing on your triceps. Maybe you clasp your fingers underneath your back, keeping your wrists touching fingertips of the pinkies to the mat. Whatever version you have, just stay for one more breath. And then release the hands out to the side, release the arms if they're underneath, and just begin to roll down from the top of your spine. Low back is the last to arrive. Now we're going to do one more bridge pose, but we're going to add extending one leg at a time up to the air. So if that's a little bit too much for you, that's going to be our last balancing challenge here. You can just repeat bridge pose. If you're just kind of done with your bridge pose and want to make it a little more restorative, you can place a block underneath your sacrum when we go up, block or a pillow, anything. And if you're just totally over it, you can stay here, let your knees fall in, let your feet come out to the width of your mat. Otherwise, we've got one more challenge left in us. So make sure those heels are below the knees, hips width distance apart, arms down to the sides to start. Press your feet into the mat. Inhale as you lift your hips up, pelvis up, chest up into your bridge pose. Again, make it your version. So if you want to place a block underneath your sacrum, you can do that and just rest and be restorative. You can just stay here. Or if you're coming with me, keep pressing that right foot down into the mat. And then bend that left knee, lift the left foot off the mat, hug the left knee into your chest. Extend and straighten that left leg up to the sky. Press that left heel up. Keep spinning this right thigh in and down, pressing that right foot into the mat. Staying for one more breath here. And then bend that left knee, release that left foot to the mat. We'll go directly to the other side. So hug and bend that right knee into your chest. Extend and straighten that right leg up to the sky. Press that right heel up. Spin that left thigh in and down. Press the left foot into the mat. One last breath here. And exhale, gently release that foot down and gently release from the top of your spine. Low back last to arrive. If you're on a block, you can place that off to the side. And everyone, let your knees fall into touch, feet out to the width of your mat. Just stay here in your constructive rest for a couple moments. And just let your body settle. Now let's extend our arms out into a T or a field goal pose with the palms face up. Just gently let your knees rock from side to side. Take your time here. You can definitely let your hips come up off the mat on this one. But try to keep your shoulders rooted. The next time your knees are to the left side, let them stay there. Just let both knees fall out to the left. You have the option to stay here, or if you want to place the outer edge of that left ankle on top of the right knee, gives you a little bit of a deeper stretch in that outside of that right thigh. Again, try to keep this right shoulder rooted, and your gaze can be up towards the ceiling, or you can turn your neck to look over those right fingertips. Just stay for a couple breaths in your full spinal twist here. One more breath here. Now gently release that ankle from on top of your knee if you have it. Bring both knees back up to center and touch. Your feet are still out to the width of the mat. And let your knees fall off to the right side this time. Again, you have the option to just stay here, or if you want to place the outside edge of that right knee on right ankle on top of the left knee, gives you a little bit of a deeper stretch here. Gaze is up towards the ceiling, or option to turn your neck to look out over those left fingertips. We're here for 2 breaths. Release that ankle if you have it. Bring both knees back up. Recenter yourself. Heel toe your feet back to hips with distance. Let's hug those knees back into your chest one last time. Give a nice squeeze here. You can lift your head and your shoulders off your mat. Squeezing in, drawing those knees in. Give me one last squeeze here. And exhale, let's extend and straighten those legs out. Extend the arms overhead. Point the toes, extend the fingertips away from your body. One last full body stretch here. So just stretch, stretch, stretch everything here. And exhale, release the arms down to the sides. Palms face up. Let the knees and the feet fall out to the side. Coming into our final pose of practice here, our Shavasana pose. It's a time to release. Release any last little bit of tension you may have in your body. And release any control over the breath. Just be. Your eyes can begin to soften, or your gaze can close completely. Just let your body be heavy. just begin to bring some awareness back into your body. You can wiggle your fingers and your toes. Rotate your wrists and your ankles. Switch directions in those rotations. And come back to stillness for one last breath here on your back. Just gently bend your knees and roll over to one side of your body. As you roll over, let your top arm to rest on your bottom and let your top knee rest on your bottom knee. Just stay for a breath here on your side. Maybe you keep your eyes closed or your gaze softened as you use your top arm to press yourself up to a comfortable cross-legged seated position to complete your practice today. Once you're in your comfortable cross-legged seat, you can rest your palms on your knees, palms can face up, or you can bring your hands into the center of your chest. Just all take a nice deep inhale in together. And exhale. Thank you for joining me in practice today. The light and love in me acknowledges and honors the light and love in each one of you. Thank you. Peace. Thank you all so much for joining me this evening for class. Coney just woke up. You might want to say hi. Do you want to say hi, Coney, before we finish up? He just yawned at me. Maybe. He might get up. Well, yeah, I just want to thank everyone for joining class. Oh, thank you, Diana. Here he comes. Thank you, Diana. I appreciate you making class this week. And really, just all of you for always making class. I really appreciate all the feedback, all the comments I get. Definitely let me know if you have any questions in the chat or in the comments of the video. If you're interested in donating, I would point you to the video description. It has a link to resources for supporting either financially or through your time or energy, racial and social justice organizations that are either Baltimore-based or national-based. So again, yeah, thank you all. I really, one of my favorite themes is always balance poses. It really helps to bring us back into equilibrium and gives us that centering feeling. So our next class will be Friday at 7 p.m. It'll be a level 2, so we'll ramp it up. The most challenging class, but really all these classes are challenging. You're always trying something new. You're always learning something different about yourself, about your capabilities and whatnot. So should definitely be proud for showing up and getting through practice today. So I invite you all to have a great rest of the week, and I will see you next time in practice. Oh, Coney got a shout out. So thank you all again. My name is Daniel. Peace. Coney, you're a celebrity on here.